A very big welcome to you, my dear Gemini, and a very big welcome to the other zodiac signs that are here for an inspiration. So the sun is in Cancer, giving the light to the moon, which is in your sign, and I'm using the moon phases, which is usually stationed 3 days in this zodiac sign, to bring the information to all of us, but particularly to you. So we're going to look what the deck is bringing, the deck that I only have for you, and it's the Last Judgment, the 20. So we have the 2, which is Lilith, the High Priestess, and she's the witch, she is the shaman, she is the one that knows. And the 0 is Uranus, and Uranus is in Aquarius, 20 years, and is gonna bring a whole new ball game to us, right? Through the technology, through AI, through all the new demand now that a human being maybe can be replaced. But the soul, what's going on with the soul, right? What are we doing when the soul is like attached to an AI or a robot or a machine, right? We have to ask ourselves that. Are there souls that are attaching itself to these machines? And so the 20, the Last Judgment, Pluto in Aquarius. We're going to look first into Pluto. And for Pluto, I have a special deck, the Lifruma Oracle, with all the rune symbols. And it's really interesting because today we have Norway playing against England. And the rune alphabet is European, is German, and of course also up there in the north. And we have tear or tire, smelt, the number 17. Now immediately the number of course tells me the 17 is Aquarius, right? Pluto in Aquarius. And so I'm going to read to you in a moment, and it's upward, and the soul goes upward, and there is something that says something is shifting and changing and going upward. So, proto-god, so old that time has smelted all emotions within. War and fury have been hammered, reformed, made over, recreated, refashioned through the compassion to understand all shadows, all destinies as part of the whole, under the tutelage of Tyre. All blows, all hammer clangs, and all strikes glow from the flow of love's breath he offers to all life. Wisdom is beauty and compassion ageless. Wow, 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 wow. The 20 and the 17 is the 37. The 37 creates a 10. So in the 3 is Venus, right, the Empress. In the 7 is then Cancer, the success, the emotional success. And so I could also create here an 8 then, calculated together. And so then the connection between the Empress and the emotional success, then we have the 10, a new cycle that can begin. A new cycle where we maybe need to question, can AI have a soul? And what's interesting also here, I can of course unite Mercury and Cancer's emotional success and create an 8, and that's the strength. That's Leo in the next reading. Sun in Leo. And the 8 infinite is the understanding of how strong are you to shift and change. Right? And so the 8 and the 20 is the 28, and then the 20, the 2, we have again Lilith. Lilith, the high priestess, Lilith, the witch, the shaman. Amazing. And the 10, the 1 and the 0, right then in the end left. A new cycle that you begin. So we're going to look at Aquarius, because Pluto is in Aquarius, in the sign that brings progress, brings communities. Important. These communities, small communities, as long as they're not becoming then so focused on only their topics, right? But these small gatherings, small communities are now helping us to get away from big corporations. Really important. So here comes the 7 of Pentacles. And we had the 10, and now another 7 is the 17. The 17 comes a second time. Aquarius comes a second time. The star, to become a star, comes a second time. And this is constellation Saturn in Taurus. And Saturn is not in Taurus, Saturn is in Aries. And she sits in the tree and she eats the apple. And she knows she has done the work, because look at all the fruits. And she's resting for a moment and thinking about what's next. Amazing. And the 17 then turns into the 8, so the strength is left. The next reading, where then here comes the full moon in Aquarius, because Sun in Leo gives the light to the full moon in Aquarius. And it's almost like this is the moment where we're going to understand something very profound. The 8, the infinite. What is infinity for you? How do you define that? How do you understand that? We don't. We just do one thing after the other. We understand that everything is under a higher consciousness, right? The soul ascends and comes down, ascends and rises, ascends and rises. And she sits here. Look, it's almost like the soul has gone through the transformation, and now she sits here in the tree. What a story. What a beautiful story. And so Saturn in Taurus says, well, you've done the work, but Saturn in Aries says, and now, what are you gonna do now? What is your next move? Do it, and don't just sit here and eat apples, but create another apple tree. I hope I see you in the next one. That's when you get the Sun in Leo, and Leo has come up through the 8. Until then, I thank you so much for being with me. Namaste.